So this proposal is for the current administration, for President Obama, and the subject would be to give direct federal funding to the basic education. Currently, the biggest problem of the US is the economical crisis. This is, by the way, the biggest problem of the whole world. And everybody, all the economists, call for a large stimulus package to revive the economy. Paul Krugman argued in great detail that the stimulus package has to be substantial. It has to be it has to be able to fast reach the economy and go into the market, and it has to be a sustainable effort. The number one task, of course, of the government should be to protect the part of the population which is the most vulnerable, that is the people who are old, who are sick, and primarily the future generation, our children. That is to make sure that the public education is not deteriorating during the time of this economical hardship. Historically, the American public school system is, of course, a very chaotically organized, locally funded institution. Village communities, cities, or sometimes states like California are funding in various different ways the education of the children. All of these government entities are struggling more or less under the current economical crisis, raising the danger that the education level will deteriorate instead of improving as we intended it, and increasing the danger that the educational level differences will be further impregnated by the economic differences of the different regions. The federal government, therefore, should take over the financing of the elementary education of the nation. The federal government would be able directly inject funds in this way to the economy, which would practically immediately take effect. It would allow the local government to use the tax revenues presently used for the education funding to use for other purposes, and therefore it would help to keep essential functions of the local government funded, and it would furthermore reduce the government layoffs, relieve pressure from unemployment insurances and other social requirements. So the economic reach not only would be instantaneous, but it would be also far-reaching. The cost of such an operation, I would estimate for the K-8 system about $160 to $200 billion per year, and we can add to that maybe $50 or $100 billion for trying to bring subpar school systems to higher standards. One should not forget that besides the lagging funding for the teacher's salary, practically all investment in every school of the US have been cut to zero during these years. This funding immediately being dispensable, that is, the currently existing school financing entities should be able just to send their current year budget as an invoice to the federal government. So it would, besides that it would immediately provide relief for the payroll, it would also increase would be a good step toward standardized quality education system. Those construction industries who are currently struggling because of the lack of orders would be able at least to go back and execute those construction projects which were just cut by the local governments because of the lack of funding. In the long term, the benefits of a standardized curriculum in the 21st century would be immense for the country anyway. clearly identified aims would provide the No Child Left Behind program by some substantial coherence, and would be able to would provide the right means to correct the differences diagnosed by the testing by the system, which is testing only the quality of the education. To build a new organization from scratch would be impossible, but taking over first only the financing of the existing school system, it would guarantee a minimal initial interference in the governance, and at the same time it would allow for a gradual, meaningful growth of the No Child Left Behind program.